congratulations, Lane Bowers, on your 2019 induction in the Water Ski Hall of Fame with the Award of Distinction. That's fantastic.
Thank you very much, Hank.
Wow, very well deserved, and what a great career.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've gone from beginning to the pinnacle, to the world teams, and how did it all get going? Where did this all start?
Well, I started late in life. I mean, I was probably, I think I tried to learn to barefoot when I was about 16, and I fell so hard, I just decided maybe this isn't for me. I'm not strong enough.
I don't know if this is what I want to do.
I'm not tough enough. And I literally quit for 4 years. So it was pretty late in life. I was like 20 when I learned to barefoot. I saw an article in Water Ski Magazine coming off a knee board, and I thought, 2 feet on the water, that's way better than trying to get out of a ski at high speed. I go, I'll try that. Started getting hooked, and then I ended up finding Mike Seipel, and that kind of got me addicted. And he was just, you know, I became like a professional student down there, to where I skied with him in Wisconsin. I skied with him in Florida. I mean, I don't know how many times. I bet you I was at his ski school. Too many times to count, really, until I was almost like living there.
And where did you grow up?
I actually grew up in Downers Grove, Illinois, and then my family would go around the Lake Michigan over into the Michigan side of stuff, where we had a place. And that's where I kind of started barefooting a little bit, and then I'd cruise around the Midwest and take some lessons with Mike Seipel, and then come down to Florida when it was freezing up there. And I got addicted, and I kind of was learning so much that they were pushing me to get into tournaments. So then I started that. And after 4 years of being with Mike, then I was kind of tired of Mike, and so he and I, even though we were good friends, we decided to kind of part our ways, at least for a little bit. It didn't last too long. And then I moved to Winter Haven, where Ron Scarpa and I worked together, skied together, lived together for 4 years. And
Wow.
so, I mean, I was really fortunate. I got to ski with some of the greats and get mentored by them. But like I say, it was late in life for me. I mean, I was already the age of the best guy in the world when I was starting.
Yeah, and Mike Seipel, Ron Scarpa, for you that are not familiar with the greatest of the greats in the barefoot world, were world champions, world record holders. They were the Mac
when I was learning.
Like the Ali, Foreman type, battles that they had, and you're learning from the best of guys in the world.
It was very weird to have their pictures on my wall, to go to training with them, to being, while they were both competitors, being on the U.S. team with them. It was kind of out of this world.
I mean, how does that happen?
Yeah, I really don't know, because I mean, I was almost as old as they. I mean, we were about the same age, but they were kind of towards the end of their careers. Even though I was the same age, I was kind of
getting yours going.
I was just getting mine going, and they were already legends, and so it was just fantastic to ski and spend time with the best guys in the world. And that's when I fell in love with Winter Haven and Polk County, and that's when I decided to stay there.
Well, you've had an incredible career yourself as a competitor, being on world teams, world champion, world overall champion.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that feel after being with the greats and to be in that, in that same category as a world champion?
Well, Ron Scarpa gave me some great advice when I moved there. He told me right off the bat, and it was like a slap in the face, but it was really pretty good, as he said, a world championship and 50 cents will get you a bus ticket. So he really quickly brought me down to some reality of getting like, hey, we're taking skiing seriously, but we're not making too big of a deal out of it. And that kind of exploded, because I'm got these icons on the wall, and now he's talking about it like we're mowing the grass or something like that. And so it really kind of brought it home and I spent a lot of time in the boat helping other people learn to barefoot, so I could spend time on the water and learn from these guys. So it was kind of like slave labor to get onto the water myself.
To get your water time in, and because when you get involved in this, no matter what discipline, it's expensive.
It's very expensive.
You got equipment, of course. You don't have the skis, but you've got the other equipment you've got to have. You got booms, you got ropes.
Exactly.
And the time.
It's lots of time.
Lots of time on the water, and so you get into the elite world champion on numerous world championship teams. Take a little break, come back, win a senior world championship because you're still hanging in there. But probably what you might consider one of your greatest accomplishments is you're teaching people to barefoot.
Really, that is. I mean, I love what happened with awards and stuff, but I don't even carry any of those awards on my walls at home. They mean very little compared to the people I've met and those that I've helped. And I guess God put in me a kind of a passion to break down the sport and help other people safely. Because when I learned, I had this.
Brutal.
It was brutal. I thought I wasn't strong enough, and I thought I wasn't tough enough, and so I tried to break it down, and eventually, after 20 years of training with the best, was able to think through a process of teaching people without falling, and that kind of became my contribution. It seemed impossible and a joke and maybe marketing at first, but I fine-tuned it to where I could teach anybody from the boom to the short rope to the long line to barefoot without falling, and at slow speeds. I mean, it's been incredible. Just last week, I had an 86-year-old guy out barefooting with me, and he learned to barefoot with me when he was 70. That just lets you know how old I am.
Oh my!
And last week he's 86, and he was barefooting with me. Another unique situation, even more proud than any medal or something I've won, is the world's strongest man, Phil Pfister, from 2006. He came down and learned to barefoot with me, and he's 6'8". 385 pounds.
What a beast of a guy.
You can't even calculate, like with the old school formulas, what kind of speed that guy would need. But I taught him to barefoot on the short rope at like 35 miles an hour. And that kind of was something I don't want to say took pride in, but I really feel good about trying to make a very simple system that other people, I can't teach it to everybody, but I can teach other people to teach it to everybody.
And you're proving that your theory works.
It does work. It does work. People that are not world champions can be as good as a world champion at teaching people to barefoot water ski, and I've seen it thousands and thousands of times. So.
And how did you break all of this down? Just by studying the moves? Now let me think of one thing that I would consider, and when you said you weren't strong enough. Yeah. If you're in the right body position, though, it's really not strength. It's being in the right position, letting your body do the work without you really working your body because you're just in the right position.
If I would have known you then, that would have helped me a lot, but I didn't. So I thought that it was so brutal that I couldn't hold on hard enough in a bad position, not realizing that it was body position. But the beating that I took, I guess because I was later age when I was learning this stuff, I was kind of lazy. I did not want to hit as hard as these guys. I mean, the beatings they took were epic.
Let me share, I'm going to hit on that because at the national championships last year in Polk County, had on Lake Grew, David Small, world champion, world jump champion, overall champion, is coming in on his trick run, and he's starting off with the toe front, and he's going to go he's going from a toe back to a toe front, which means you're in the backward position, your foot's in the rope, and you're going to turn frontwards with your foot in the rope, skiing on one foot. Right. So you're getting pulled by your foot. He came around from the back to the front, and he hit so hard, he caught maybe his foot somehow, I don't know what caught on to make him fall forward like that. He hit so hard, it
looked like
hurt
an explosion.
Me. Yes.
Yeah.
And I go, boy, oh boy, to be able to take those kind of hits and get back up and do it again takes a lot of courage and a lot of talking yourself into getting back out there and doing it.
Well, you're 100% correct. I mean, and obviously David is an amazing athlete, so he shook that off. He might have took some Advil and some beer at the end of the day, but he probably shook that off. But it's interesting that you brought that particular trick up because you may not know, but I was the first person in the world to do them feet to feet. So when I was learning from Mike Seipel, I saw him do one on the boom. I thought, that's the coolest trick I've ever seen, because everybody, when I was getting in the sport, would turn from back to front in the toe strike, hit their butt, and then come on up. As a guy who was already getting older and tired of the butt whooping, I really didn't want to hit my butt at 45 miles an hour. It doesn't feel great. No. And so I was looking as a lazy man's way out. How could I stop beating myself? So my thought was, let's not hit our butts on the water. So just out of sheer desire to take less of a beating, I asked Mike, I said, could you teach me how to do a toe front? And I want to be able to, and I was ambidextrous, so I said, I want to be able to do it on both feet. Now Mike couldn't do it on both feet. In fact, nobody in the world could
so
do
you're
it.
doing it on 4 different.
So I asked him,
maneuvers.
what's weird is a student asking him to teach me what he couldn't do.
What he
but
couldn't do.
the great thing about Mike Seipel is that he had the foresight and the kindness to not discourage my dream. Otherwise, it would have changed maybe.
Yeah, being a world champion, he said, well, why should I teach you to do
He
something
actually,
I don't know how to do?
No, but he actually asked me, he said, well, I said, Mike, after he kind of gave me a glimpse into how this might be done, I said, Mike, I think I'm going to get this before you'll get it. And he was tremendously better skier than me. I mean, we're not even talking at that time even close. And he said, why do you think you're going to be better at it than me? And I said, the reason is I'm going to do what you told me to do. You gave me the homework, which, by the way, was shoe skis. I saw that picture of you skiing on the radios.
The car stereos.
Like shoe skis. So what I decided was nobody liked shoe skis back then. But I didn't care. If the world champion Mike Seipel told me that I needed to do the homework and do 1,000 of them on shoe skis, that's what I'm doing. And I knew Mike wasn't. He kept trying over and over and over on his feet. And other top skiers had tried it, but it was so dangerous because of what you saw with David. But imagine back when you didn't even think it could be done.
And did you even have releases back then?
I actually, more bad thinking into play, I thought that having a tighter strap would be safer because I wouldn't fall off my foot. So that was a huge mistake. Now skiers use a much more open strap, but I used what was called a baby bear that locked onto my foot. Absolutely no release in the boat.
You got dragged down the lake until somebody realized you fell.
I think people literally rode in the boat just to see me fall, because those falls were just like you saw, and imagine not even realizing they were possible. But thankfully, because of some great guidance, you know, those tricks came about. And then after someone saw them done, I was the first guy to do them in '92 in the world, in horrible water, by the way. I had no plan B, so I just went ahead with what I planned to do in calm water, but it was cold England, rough water. I went ahead and did it, but like all sports anywhere, as soon as someone sees, whoa, I can't even believe that's done. But it took 8 years before the next guy actually was able to do all 4. But immediately, I know for a fact, when I did those, a lot of people said, if Lane can do it, I can do it. Because Lane's an old guy. I mean, for heaven's sakes, this guy's already older.
I can do it.
So
little did they realize how much it took to get that.
It took a lot. And what's funny is later on in jumping, the exact same thing is I didn't want to hit my butt in jumping. So I learned out of necessity, because my spine could not take it as an older athlete, the amount of abuse I took. I learned the method of landing feet to feet out of not wanting to get hurt. And what I did to learn that is went back to the boom, jumped on a short rope, which nobody in the world was doing that except Mike Seipel. He did it for photo shoots. But I realized, hey, that's pretty smart. Not only to be a cool photo, it might be a great way to advance my own safety. And that's what we did. So it was just out of sheer laziness and a desire not to get beat up that also, even not many people know, but all skiers now, barefooters, aim to land on their feet. But back when I was learning, you barely touched your feet and you hit your butt. And
that's a pounding, especially going that fast. It's not soft water at
It's
that
not
speed.
soft. And the mentality back then is we wore clincher gloves, which had dowel rods in the fingers to lock onto the handle, which created more injuries in shoulders. And we would actually hit so hard that the plastic cups we wore in our barefoot suits would crack. So imagine the force that it took to do that.
Imagine if you'd had the cup on.
We wouldn't be talking here. What are you talking about?
Gotta throw that in there. So on top of all of this, what you have done to help people learn the barefoot, and how you've put together your ebook program.
Yeah. That was it was
Amazing.
interesting. I know you like marketing, and I was telling my family on the way over here a little bit about your past marketing, but a friend of mine in Winter Haven happens to be one of the top internet marketing people in the world.
Wow.
He actually invented the squeeze page, if you know what that is. It's a single page website where the only thing you can do is leave a name and an email, and that's how you build your list. He invented that. Well, he came to me as a young, struggling, teeny little barefoot water ski business, and he said, how would you like me to outline a program for you? And that led to, he said, listen, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your best information, the very best you can give to someone, as if they're paying for it, And that's before we had video on the internet. So I was typing all this out before we actually could do a video of the same thing. And he said, put all those newsletters together into a book and give it away for free. And I'm like, man, that's a lot of work. I mean, I'm giving like my secrets. I'm spilling my heart into stuff that took me thousands, tens of thousands to learn. You want me to write that out completely
and give it to him for free?
And give it to free? He said, you cannot believe what that'll do. And I took his word. I did that, and that helped me build a massive list of in a teeny little world of barefoot water skiing. And what it does is, when people see that you're pouring your heart into what you're giving them for free, the natural tendency is, if that's what's free, we should see about, either buying equipment from this guy, taking lessons from the guy. And that's how I built my business. I just kept giving high quality free information away in exchange for a name and an email. And then I basically
follow up on it.
And when people know, like, and trust you, they like doing business with you. So that was a simple program that I followed, and that's where the ebook came through.
Fantastic. Lane, what a treat getting to talk with you.
It's great talking to you.
A buddy of mine in our neighborhood.
Exactly.
So, it's always fun when you're with your friends and you get to share this special moment. And tonight, getting your induction in the Hall of Fame with the award distinction, I'm glad that I'm going to be able to be cheering you on, and it's so well deserved. And tear it up tonight, brother.
Thank you, buddy. God bless you. I
God
appreciate
bless
the interview.
My pleasure.